Yes, and that was a phenomenal question, so thank you so much for that. And I come from the organizing space. I'm a journalist, but also an organizer locally with tenants and climate activists and all kinds of working class folks, but also nationally with a group called Progressive Democrats of America. I run the youth division of YPDA. And so when you organize, if you're in that organizing space, you coalition build around self-interest. It's not labels, we lead with listening and relationships, right? And so the person who I would talk to, and I am so honored to be endorsed by Congressman Ro Khanna. And what Congressman Khanna and Congressman Thomas Massie have done has given us some of the most instrumental pieces of legislation in the history of this country. Ro Khanna, a Democrat, Thomas Massie, a Republican, are the reasons why we have the Epstein files, or at least the files that we have of the Epstein files. Those two together are also the reasons why we had the War Powers Resolution that has been put onto the floor. John Fetterman voted against in the Senate today, which we have to come to Jesus moment about. But so yes, and what's great is that I can call Congressman Khanna and say, hey, can you send me Thomas Massie's number? When we were in DC a few weeks ago, that's the first office we went to was Congressman Massie, because we want to start these relationships. So yes, I have a coalition of folks from the quote unquote squad. I've got moderates in the middle, but also, yeah, like we have folks on the right. When we took on in 2023 tenants organized to take on billionaires the first go around for that downtown stadium vote. We won and beat billionaires by 16 points. You don't win by that margin by just a bunch of lefties on the internet. That's a coalition of folks. In fact, some of my favorite folks who are friends with me now are libertarians who helped us get this across the finish line. So yes, absolutely, we have to build coalitions. Bigger tents means we have to do that by finding mutual self-interest, and then we win the race. We don't run to the line, we run through the line, and we get over, and we got more folks with us.
Thank you, Monica, again for a really great question tonight. Thank you guys all for being brave and asking questions. So to answer, it's kind of a two-parter. One, what did Democrats do wrong? What was our part in the piece of this? Where's our responsibility? And number two, who would I work with as a Republican? So let's answer the question directly. Number one, Democrats failed because we stopped showing up in rural communities. We stopped showing up in IBEW halls. We stopped showing up in the streets next to them. I am proud to be a Democrat today and seeing the mobilization that has happened over the last year. It is insane. I've been a politics junkie for a long time, and I haven't seen it like this since Obama. That's the momentum we have right now. So people I would work with, there are senators like Senator Collins, or Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski. There's also, yes, Thomas Massie. Dan Osborne is running as an independent in Nebraska. I would happily work with an independent. I would happily work with a conservative, and I've done that. That's why I've been out in rural counties. And so how do we show up in our rural network, right? How do we show up for our rural farmers and agriculture? I grew up in Nebraska. I grew up on a stockyard where there were more corn and cattle than people. I then served in the military. And then I worked for Andrew Bailey at the AGO, historically conservative spaces, right? I've always been able to flourish, whether I was non-commissioned officer of the year, military outstanding volunteer of the year, John Levitel Leadership Award winner, Lance P. Sijot, I can go on. Doesn't matter the organization, how conservative it is, if you lead with your morals and your ethics and you talk about those things, we can bridge people together. One thing that Democrats did wrong in the last election, we saw Hispanic men and women leave our party in huge numbers, and black men leave our party in huge numbers. If we are not reaching out to these audiences specifically, we will continue to lose. In 1933, FDR built our party on a white working class and a minority core. If we don't protect it, we lose it.